I am turning heel on the Diva Revolution. We're at a point right now where we need a revolution from the fucking revolution because on Monday Night Raw, it suffered a great attack. And I can report to you guys right now that the Divas Revolution was rushed to the hospital and unfortunately it met its end. So rest in peace to the Divas Revolution. And I'm watching Monday Night Raw and I see the Miz TV segment and PCB. They are the guests on the segment. And I said, you know what? This could possibly be good because Miz, he loves to stir the pot. He is a big-ass instigator. He's going to get this ball rolling. Once he gets in there and he starts stirring the pot, shit's going to go off the rails. Little did I know that it went off the rails, but not in the way that I imagined. We had all of the divas sitting there, and they don't want to focus on individuals at all. They're sitting there and they're talking about how, oh, it doesn't matter who got the pin last night because we're all a team and we work together as one and the world is full of rainbows and gumdrops and lollipops and
don't forget the dinosaurs. Becky Lynch mentioned the dinosaurs. Remember.
We can't forget those dinosaurs. Like, damn, I knew she was into like the old school steampunk, but she went a little bit too far back in history talking about dinosaurs and shit. But from that point, we get the WWE Divas Champion, the #1 diva in the division. She comes out and she basically addresses the match that took place at SummerSlam. And she says this statement, and I quote, "Wins, losses, who cares?" The WWE Divas Champion, the champion, the #1 diva in the damn division, comes out there and says, "Wins, losses, who cares?" And I flipped my shit. I posted this on Twitter. I quoted her and I said, I'm about to throw my TV out of the fucking window because I listened to that and it enraged me because WWE sits here and they peddle this bullshit to us every single week about this Diva Revolution and they want to talk about the sports stars. They want to talk about the U.S. women's soccer team. They want to talk about Serena Williams. They want to talk about Ronda Rousey. Could you ever imagine Serena Williams or Ronda Rousey going into a pre-match interview and saying, wins, losses, who cares? I'm a big tennis fan. We have the U.S. Open coming up very shortly in September. Serena Williams is going for something that she's never done in her entire career. She's won like 20 majors, but she's never won the 4 big tennis majors in one calendar year. If she wins the U.S. Open, that will be the time that she does it for the first time in her career. Could you imagine her going into the finals of the U.S. Open saying, wins, losses, who cares? Are you fucking kidding me? And I could just imagine there is someone backstage in WWE that is doing this shit on purpose, letting those women go out there and make fools of themselves. And it has me pissed off to the highest level of pissivity because I can just imagine it. Somebody has them go out there and say some shit like that, say wins, losses, who cares? And then when the crowd turns on them, whatever motherfucker it is backstage is saying, see, told you. It wasn't going to get over. I told you this Divas Revolution was a bad idea. And that shit is sabotage. There's no way in hell you can tell me that they are going through this with a genuine heart and mind to get these ladies over because it's not working. I looked at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn and I'm going to repeat it until the damn cows come home. I cried tears watching that woman compete in a match versus Bayley. And you want to know the difference between the main roster and NXT? In NXT, the women are the stars. On the main roster, this bullshit ass hashtag, that's the star. The Diva Revolution is the star of the Diva Revolution. Do you realize that that shit makes no sense at all? Nothing that happens there is organic in any way, shape, or form, and it's not working. You had people ready, willing, and able. Me sitting here saying, yes, bring it on. I'm a big proponent of women in wrestling. I am ready for this revolution. And WWE, they just don't get it. You took too damn long doing all of these matches that JBL has told us don't matter. That the Divas Champion have told us they don't matter at all. There's no storyline. There's no individuality. There's no interest in making any kind of star at all. And you think that this shit is going to work? And then, like I said, I can just imagine that person backstage, whatever motherfucker it is, sitting back there, told you it wasn't going to work.
I feel I agree with everything you said, but I feel like you take the comments of heels way too seriously. Because of course Nikki Bella is gonna say that. She lost a match. Of course. Like, she's a heel, man.
But here's the thing, they have to understand the gravity of the situation. It wasn't simply her saying, the fact that I lost last night didn't matter. Wins, losses, who cares? Shit,
Alright.
you say
Yeah.
that before a match that has absolutely nothing on the line. Me as a fan, what am I supposed to do in that moment? Where the leader of your division just told me, wins, losses, who cares? What am I supposed to do as a fan in that moment? Like, I can't honestly sit there and say, oh, she's a heel. Like, I understand her saying that. But there was no grasp of the gravity of the situation, and realizing that that's a damn champion. Like, you need to go out there and you need to establish your dominance. You need to let people know that, like, how the hell could you possibly do that other than winning? Like, I don't get that. Like, what the hell do you expect us to do? Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make a good point, and I think Steven makes a good point too in terms of saying she is a heel. I just think that the way it was articulated was so piss poor, and that's why it comes off the way that it comes off. Because when you say wins, losses, who cares, it makes you the whole myth of wrestling, if we call it a myth, but the whole premise of professional wrestling is wins and losses. And yes, it's predetermined action, but those wins and losses are supposed to matter. If you win matches and continue to win matches, you're being built up. And if you're the champion, you know, you won a big match to win the big belt, and now you have to actually hang on to it. So wins and losses are everything in pro wrestling, even if the action's predetermined. It doesn't matter. Those wins and losses do have a lot of impact on how relevant a character is, how well built up they are, how important it is, because you know, wins and losses is what gets you somewhere. And it feels like WWE at many different times lately have this kind of sense to them that they're almost saying that. And it's kind of hilarious to have Nikki Bella say that on TV, because it's almost like they've been telling us that without saying it in the past.
The booking indicates it.
Exactly. And that's where it just, that's what made that line so ironic to me, because it's like they've, in a backwards way, been telling us this whole time that wins and losses don't matter. So for Nikki Bella to say that on TV is just like the last straw. So obviously Jay now has one less TV, and that's really a shame. I'm sorry for your loss with the television, man.
And just to add to all of the fuckery, like the crowd, the champion comes out there and tells us wins, losses, they don't matter. The crowd does not give a damn about the match. And what do the announcers do? The announcers enable them, or enable future crowds, and bring attention to what's going on in the audience. Like, I'm not saying, crowd, oh, you shouldn't have done that. Shame on you. I'm putting my focus on the fucking announcers, because one moment you have JBL out there talking about, oh, this is the era of the female athlete. 2 minutes later, he's like, oh, the crowd doesn't give a fuck about this match. They're chanting my name. Yes, they are awesome. You don't even buy your own bullshit. How the hell do you expect me to? I want to go to some comments in the chat right now, because they're talking about how you could see the hurt on the Divas' faces, and some of them even lashed out on Twitter. I know Paige, she did. I believe Brie Bella did as well, and there was a point, I think Sasha Banks, she did last week, on last week's episode of Monday Night Raw. I'm not blaming them in any way, shape, or form. I think, like, and this isn't a situation where they need to be coddled either. Like, I understand that some people are like, oh, you got to watch the way that you talk, because we want to encourage them, positive reinforcement and things like that. But we need to properly assess what's going on. And I believe that this is sabotage. And I'm not putting it on the Divas at all, but we need to recognize that they were put in a bad situation. And I can't say that the crowd is at fault either, because they responded to what they were seeing, and they didn't like what they were seeing, and it was actually logic behind it. We need to put this solely on the creative team and this bullshit concept of a Divas Revolution, because if your mindset doesn't change, and all you want to change is like the little dressing, and, you know, put some, it's like baking a crap cake and putting frosting over it. Like, we still know what's under there. And if you don't get that shit right, then you're not going to get the results that you desire.